Rian stood at the gates of the Galactic Martial Arts Academy, holding the small bag that carried everything he owned. He was only 16, shorter than most students, and lighter than almost every alien around him. Ships from many worlds parked outside the academy, and students of all shapes and colors walked past him. Some had scales, some had wings, some had glowing eyes. Rian was the only human he could see. He took a slow breath and stepped forward. The hall was huge, with tall banners showing ancient alien symbols. Soft blue lights floated in the air like fireflies. Rian felt excitement in his chest, but also a small fear. He knew humans were rare in this academy. He knew most aliens believed humans were weak. Rian did not care about their opinions. He came here for a reason. His old mentor back on Earth had taught him simple martial arts and always told him, "Let your actions speak." Rian carried those words with him today. As he walked into the main training arena, voices began to rise. A tall insect-like student with sharp limbs nudged his friend and whispered, loud enough for Rian to hear. "Look, the soft creature from Earth is here." A reptile student laughed. "He is so small. Maybe he joined the wrong class. Maybe he came to the cooking hall." Rian kept walking. He did not argue. He kept his face calm just like his mentor taught him. If he reacted, they would only laugh more. The arena floor was clean metal marked with glowing circles. Many students were already practicing. Some trained with forearms, some used tails for balance, and some floated in the air. It all looked impossible for a human to copy. Rian placed his bag on the side and stood quietly. He watched every movement. He watched how each alien shifted their feet, how they breathed, how they struck. His mentor had said, "Before you learn to strike, learn to see." So Rian watched. A shadow moved behind him. A tall, four-armed alien walked slowly across the mat. His skin was dark gray, and his eyes were half closed as if he was always thinking. This was Master Vok Ren, the main instructor. Everyone fell silent when he appeared. Master Vok looked around the arena, and his eyes stopped on Rian for a moment. His expression did not change, but Rian felt that the instructor saw more than he showed. "Warm-up drills begin now," Master Vok announced. The students spread out. Rian found an empty spot. When he copied the drill, some aliens stared at him. A winged student whispered, "He looks so slow." Another added, "Humans move like old machines." Their voices were sharp, but Rian ignored them. He focused on each step of the drill. His movements were simple but careful. He knew he could not match the aliens' strange abilities, so he tried to make each motion clean and steady. After the drill, pairs began to practice combat forms. Rian did not have a partner. No one came to him. A tall horned alien even said, "Do not ask him. He might break." Rian stood alone for a moment. Then he picked a corner and practiced by himself. He copied what he saw as best as he could. He tried to understand the flow of the galactic form, even though it looked very different from anything humans learned on Earth. His feet were not perfect. His balance slipped. His arms moved slower than others. But he kept trying. From across the arena, some students watched and laughed softly. Why is he even here? He should go home. He cannot keep up. Rian heard all of it. The words stung a little, but he did not stop. He remembered his mentor again. People will talk. Let them. Your truth lives in your effort. Rian repeated the sequence again and again. His muscles ached, but he pushed through. He believed humans could adapt. He believed he could learn anything if he watched long enough. Master Vok walked past him silently. Rian expected the instructor to ask him to stop. Instead, Master Vok only said, "Your stance is open on the left. Close it." Then he continued walking. The other students looked surprised. The instructor almost never spoke during early training. But he had given Rian a correction. A real correction. It felt like a small spark of hope. Rian adjusted his stance. Suddenly the movement felt smoother. He tried the form again, and for the first time he felt like he understood a tiny piece of the galactic technique. The aliens were still watching, still whispering, still doubting him. But Rian did not pay attention anymore. He kept practicing with quiet focus. He knew he did not need to convince anyone today. He just needed to be ready for tomorrow. The next morning, the arena was louder than usual. Students from many worlds filled the room, talking and laughing as they prepared for training. Rian entered quietly, carrying the same small bag, wearing the same simple uniform. He felt the eyes turn toward him again. The whispers began even before he stepped onto the training floor. There he is. The human boy. Maybe he survived one day by luck. He should leave before someone breaks him. Rian ignored the voices and walked to his usual spot. His legs were sore from the long practice last night, but he did not show it. He stood straight and waited for the lesson to start. A group of alien students stood near him. One of them, a tall reptilian trainee with dark green scales, looked down at Rian with a wide grin. "Did you sleep well, Earthling?" he asked. "Training must be hard for your soft bones." The others laughed. Rian kept his eyes forward and said nothing. Another alien, thin with sharp insect-like arms, leaned closer. "You do not belong here. The galactic form is not for weak creatures. It takes strength, balance, real power. Humans do not have that." Rian stayed calm. His mentor had warned him about moments like this. He told him that some people laugh because they fear what they do not understand. Rian did not know if that was true, but he held on to the thought. Master Vok entered the arena and the noise died instantly. His 4 arms folded behind him while he observed the room with steady eyes. "Today," Master Vok said, "we test your form in motion. Each student will face a partner. You will show your control, balance, and timing." The aliens around Rian grinned. The tall reptile whispered loudly, "This will be fun. The human will fall in 5 seconds. Another added, "Maybe 3 seconds." Rian stayed quiet. He did not look at them. He looked at Master Vok, who continued speaking. "Each match will be light contact only. You will strike with control. You will stop when I say stop." Students began pairing up. Some matched with their friends, others with rivals. But no one came to Rian. He waited, standing alone, until the reptilian trainee walked forward with a large confident smile. "I will take the Earthling," he announced. The group around him laughed again. Rian simply nodded. He stepped into the glowing circle of the practice ring. The reptile student stepped in as well, cracking his knuckles. Rian faced him, calm but alert. His opponent looked relaxed, almost bored. "Try not to fall too fast," the reptile said. "Give us at least some entertainment." Rian did not answer. Master Vok stood at the side of the ring. He raised one hand. "Begin." The reptile moved first. He lunged forward with surprising speed, his claws stopping just a breath away from Rian's face. It was meant to intimidate him, not to hit. The nearby students laughed again. "Scared already?" Rian stepped back lightly, keeping his balance. He did not strike. He only studied the reptile's stance, the angle of his feet, the shift of his shoulders. The reptile attacked again, faster this time. Rian dodged by a small margin. 2 more students joined the circle to watch. "He cannot even block. He is just running away. This is no warrior." Rian heard the comments, but he focused on his breathing. He remembered his mentor's training. Slow breath in, slow breath out, watch everything, move only when needed. The reptile grew annoyed. "Stop running and fight," he shouted, stepping in close and swinging another controlled strike. This time Rian blocked it gently, then stepped back again. The crowd laughed louder. He touched him. The human is finished. But Rian was not finished. He simply did not want to show everything yet. Master Vok raised his hand again. "Stop." The match ended for the moment. The reptile turned to his friends with a cocky grin. "See? He cannot do anything." Master Vok looked at both students. "This is only the warm-up. You will demonstrate the galactic form sequence next." Rian felt a small pressure in his chest. He had tried this form many times last night, but he did not know if he could do it perfectly. Still he stepped forward. The reptile began his sequence first. His movements were strong but rough. His steps were heavy, his arms fast but not controlled. The other students cheered for him. When he finished, he pointed at Rian. "Your turn, Earthling. Show us your human dance." More laughter. Rian stepped into the center. He closed his eyes for a moment and replayed the form in his mind. Then he started moving. His steps were lighter than yesterday. His balance was better. His arms followed the flow he had studied so carefully. He made small mistakes, but he corrected them quickly. Some students stopped laughing. Others whispered, "Wait, he improved? Humans learn that fast? No, maybe it is luck." Rian finished the sequence with a steady breath. He stayed calm, but inside he felt a quiet spark of pride. The reptile frowned, annoyed that Rian had done better than expected. He stepped close to Rian and said softly, "Tomorrow you will fall. I promise it." Rian met his eyes for the first time. Not with anger. Not with fear. Only quiet determination. "We will see," he said. Around them rumors began to spread. The aliens had expected Rian to fail. But something felt different now. Something was changing. And no one knew that this small moment of mockery was only the beginning. The third day began with a sharp, cold silence in the training arena. Everyone knew what was happening today. A full test match. No warm-ups. No practice drills. Just a clean test of skill. Rian walked into the room, steady and calm, even though his heart beat faster than usual. The whispers followed him instantly, just like every other day. He will lose today. The human cannot survive a real test. 13 seconds? No, he will fall in 10. Rian ignored all of it. He had practiced late again the night before, repeating the forms until his muscles shook. His body was tired, but his mind was focused. He walked toward the center of the arena where a glowing ring waited for him. His opponent, the reptilian trainee named Drath, was already standing inside the ring. Drath was larger than most students, with powerful arms and thick scales that acted like natural armor. He smiled when he saw Rian approach. "Ready to lose, Earthling?" Drath asked. "I will try not to hurt you. Too much." Rian did not answer. He stepped into the ring and took his stance. His movements were slow, controlled, and simple. Drath looked down at him with a grin. Master Vok walked to the edge of the ring. He looked at both students without emotion. "This is a test of control," he said. "Not strength. Not pride. You win by landing 3 clean touches or by outmaneuvering your opponent. If you strike too hard, you fail." Drath nodded quickly. Rian nodded slowly. The circle lights brightened. The arena fell silent. Every student leaned forward. They all believed the same thing: the human boy would fall. Master Vok raised one hand. "Begin." Drath charged forward instantly. His feet pounded the floor like heavy drums. His claws sliced through the air. Rian stepped aside in a smooth, small motion. Drath's strike missed by inches. The crowd laughed. He dodged by luck. He is only delaying the end. Drath turned fast and attacked again. His speed was impressive for his size. He aimed a controlled strike toward Rian's chest, but Rian dipped under it. Drath's claws passed over Rian's shoulder. Rian breathed out slowly. His mentor's voice echoed in his mind: "See the body. Read the intent. Move a moment before they do." Drath attacked a third time. This time he used more force. Rian stepped back, then slid to the right, keeping perfect balance. The students were no longer laughing. They watched more closely. How is he dodging that? He is still standing? This cannot be real. Drath growled softly, annoyed. "Stop running." He lunged again, faster and harder than before. His claws were controlled, but barely. Rian waited until the last second. Then he moved. A small pivot. A shift of weight. A quiet step. Drath's attack missed again. And Rian touched the back of Drath's arm with 2 fingers. A clean point. The room gasped. Rian stepped away quickly, calm and balanced. Drath looked surprised, then angry. "Lucky hit," he said. "You will not get another." The timer on the wall showed that only a few seconds had passed. Drath rushed forward again. He swung. Rian ducked. He spun. Rian leaned back. The strikes cut through empty air again and again. Rian watched every movement, every shift in Drath's shoulders. Then the moment came. Drath pulled back for a heavy strike. Rian stepped inside the attack, tapped Drath's shoulder with perfect control, and landed his second point. It looked simple. Too simple. Some students stood up straight. That was not luck. He is reading Drath's movements. How is a human doing this? Drath growled in frustration. He swung with wide arms, trying to catch Rian off guard. But Rian moved like water. Light. Quiet. Every step was exactly where it needed to be. Rian waited again. He watched Drath's feet. He saw the tiny shift that showed where the next attack would come from. Drath moved. Rian moved faster. With one smooth motion, he stepped forward, touched Drath's chest with the tip of his palm, and landed the third clean point. The test was over. Silence filled the arena. For a long moment, no one spoke. No one breathed. No one understood what they had just seen. Master Vok lowered his hand slowly. Match complete. Someone nearby whispered the time. 13 seconds. It only took him 13 seconds. The words spread like a shockwave across the arena. 13 seconds? The human one? This is not possible. Drath stood frozen. He was not hurt, just stunned. He looked at Rian with disbelief. You read all my moves," he said quietly. Rian said nothing. He only bowed slightly, a small sign of respect. Master Vok stepped forward. His eyes were calm, but there was something new in them. Something that looked like approval. He spoke softly, but his voice carried across the silent room. Humans learn fast. Very fast. Rian stepped out of the ring. His legs trembled from the test, but he kept walking. Everyone stared at him as he passed. Some with shock. Some with respect. Some with fear. But Rian did not care. He had not fought to impress them. He fought to prove to himself that he belonged here. And in 13 silent seconds he had done exactly that. The arena stayed quiet long after the match ended. Students whispered to each other, trying to understand what they had just watched. Some were confused, some were surprised, and some were even a little scared. Rian walked back to the edge of the training floor, breathing slowly. His body felt heavy from the effort, but inside he felt calm. Master Vok did not speak right away. He stood in the center of the arena, his 4 arms folded behind him, his eyes fixed on Rian. The other students followed his gaze. They wondered what the instructor would say or if he would say anything at all. Finally, Master Vok raised one hand. "Rian," he said. "Come forward." Rian stepped toward him. His footsteps echoed lightly across the metal floor. Drath, his opponent, watched with lowered eyes. The other students formed a circle around them, keeping their distance as if something important was about to happen. Master Vok studied Rian for a long moment. "Your performance was not luck," he said. "It was skill, control, reading, timing." He paused, then added, "These are the foundations of the galactic form." A few students gasped. Others stood perfectly still. Master Vok pointed to the center of the arena. "Show me the advanced sequence. The full one." A wave of whispers rushed through the crowd. "The full sequence? He cannot do that. That is impossible for a beginner." Rian felt a small pressure in his chest, but he nodded. He had practiced parts of the sequence before. He had studied the movements carefully, even when he did not fully understand them. Now he had to put them together. He stepped into position. The arena lights dimmed slightly, leaving the glowing circles on the floor shining like stars. Rian closed his eyes and remembered everything he had watched. Every step, every shift, every motion. Then he began. His feet moved first, sliding across the floor in a smooth rhythm. His arms followed, tracing arcs in the air. He shifted his weight from one leg to the other, bending low then rising high. His breath stayed steady. His balance never broke. The crowd watched in silence. "He is doing it. No way. This is the advanced form?" Rian continued the sequence. Some movements were sharp, others flowing. Some required strength, others required total calm. He made small mistakes, but he corrected them quickly. His body remembered the things he had practiced in the quiet corners of the hall. His mind read the rhythm of the form like a language he had suddenly learned. When he reached the final movement, he ended in a strong stance, one arm extended, one arm drawn back, his feet steady and planted. Master Vok nodded slowly. "That is enough." Rian lowered his arms and stepped back. He felt sweat on his forehead and his heart beating fast, but he felt steady. He did not know if he had done it perfectly, but he had done his best. Master Vok looked at the students around him. "Many of you have trained this form for years," he said. "Some of you still struggle with the balance. Others struggle with timing. Rian has learned this in days." A murmur spread through the crowd. "How can a human do that? He is not normal. Maybe humans are better than we thought." Master Vok turned to a small storage panel on the wall. He pressed his palm against it, and the panel opened, revealing a set of folded belts of different colors. The belts represented rank. The highest one, the rarest one, was black. Master Vok reached inside and took out a black belt. The room froze. No one spoke. Even Dratha's eyes widened. He walked back to Rian and held the belt in his hands. "In this academy," Master Vok said, "a black belt is not given for strength. It is earned for mastery of control, balance, and understanding. Rian has shown all three." Rian felt the world pause for a moment. His breath caught in his chest. Master Vok stepped closer and tied the black belt around Rian's waist. The belt fit snugly, its fabric smooth and heavy. Rian looked down at it, hardly believing it. The arena exploded with noise. Impossible. He just got here. A human black belt? This changes everything. But some students did not shout. Some stared at Rian with new respect. Even Drath approached him slowly. "You moved faster than my eyes," Drath said quietly. "You saw everything I tried to do. You earned that." Rian nodded. He did not brag. He did not smile too wide. He simply gave a respectful bow. Master Vok raised his voice once more. "Let this be known. Rian of Earth has earned the Galactic Black Belt. And this academy will record it." The murmurs grew again, but this time something felt different. The laughter was gone. The mockery was gone. The doubt was fading. Rian walked toward the edge of the arena, feeling the weight of the belt around his waist. It was heavy but in a good way. It felt like proof. Proof that he belonged here. Proof that humans could rise in places where no one expected them to. As he reached his corner of the arena, he heard a small whisper behind him. Humans are stronger than we thought. Rian smiled quietly to himself. Not because he wanted glory, but because he had shown them a piece of what humans could truly be. The news of Rian's black belt spread through the academy faster than light. By the next morning, every hallway was buzzing. Students from different classes leaned over railings and whispered when they saw him pass. Some pointed, some stared, and some still looked confused. But the tone had changed. The laughter was gone. The jokes were gone. Now there was only curiosity and respect. Rian woke early as he always did. He tied his new black belt around his waist with careful hands. It still felt unreal. When he stepped out of his dorm, a small group of younger students froze and quickly bowed to him. He didn't know how to react, so he bowed back politely. They gasped and ran off, whispering excitedly. When he entered the main training hall, the room grew quiet for a moment. The same aliens who used to mock him stood straighter now. No smirks. No rude comments. Just quiet, careful attention. Rian walked to his usual spot, but before he could even set down his bag, someone approached him. It was Drath. The tall reptilian trainee stood in front of him with a serious expression. He no longer looked amused or superior. Instead he looked thoughtful, and a little embarrassed. Rian waited, unsure of what Drath wanted. Drath spoke softly, almost respectfully. You see movements before I make them. You move like you already know the fight. That is something I want to learn. Will you teach me? Rian blinked. He did not expect that. Drath had been the loudest voice mocking him just days ago. But Rian did not hold a grudge. His mentor had always said, if someone reaches out with honesty, meet them with kindness. So Rian nodded. I can teach you, he said simply. Drath lowered his head in gratitude. Some students nearby watched with wide eyes. A reptilian warrior asking a human for help? It was something none of them had seen before. As the morning training began, Master Vok entered the hall. Like always, everyone went silent. His eyes scanned the room, passing over Rian for only a brief moment. But that short moment carried a quiet approval. Today, Master Vok said, you will train in mixed groups. Students split into pairs and trios. Rian expected to stand alone again like on the first day. But this time something different happened. 3 students walked toward him. One was a winged student who had once laughed at him. One was the insect-like student who had told him humans had soft bones. And the third was a small furry alien who had always avoided him before. Can we practice with you? The winged student asked. You learn fast, the insect-like one added. Maybe we can learn something from you too. Rian nodded. He did not think of himself as a teacher, but he remembered how he had studied others on the first day. Maybe now they wanted to study him in the same way. The group began practicing. Rian moved slowly at first, showing the steps clearly. The others followed him carefully. Drath joined the group a moment later, watching Rian's feet and hands with full focus. It felt strange to Rian, training beside the same people who had mocked him, but it also felt good. It felt right. As the training went on, more students drifted closer, watching from the edges. Some whispered to each other, "Look at his balance. I didn't know humans could do that." He learns, then teaches. Interesting. Rian kept practicing, helping anyone who asked. His movements were simple, clean, and calm. He corrected mistakes gently, the same way Master Vok had corrected his stance on the first day. Hours later, when the session ended, Master Vok called out to the class. "Remember this," he said. "Strength is not born from size. Skill is not born from species. Greatness comes from focus, patience, and effort. Rian has proven this." The whole room turned toward Rian. He felt his face warm slightly, but he stayed quiet. After training, Rian walked through the academy garden. Soft lights glowed on the trees and small creatures hummed in the air. He liked this place. It was peaceful, far from the noise of battle drills and sparring rings. As he walked, he heard footsteps behind him. It was the small furry alien who had practiced with him earlier. "Thank you," the alien said shyly. "Many of us judged you before. We were wrong." Rian smiled a little. "It's okay. People fear what they don't understand." The alien nodded slowly. "But now we understand. You showed us something new." Rian continued walking. The academy looked different today, even though nothing had changed physically. What changed were the eyes looking at him. They no longer saw a weak human. They saw a fighter. A learner. A warrior. He returned to his dorm as the lights dimmed across the academy. He untied his black belt and placed it carefully on his small desk. It was more than just a belt. It was proof of all the nights he spent training alone. Proof of every moment he stayed calm while others mocked him. Proof that humans could rise anywhere in the galaxy. Not because they were stronger but because they were determined. Rian lay on his bed and looked at the dim ceiling lights. He felt tired but in a good way. Tomorrow would bring new challenges. New students. New tests. But tonight he rested with a quiet smile. He had earned their respect. Not with words. But with everything he did in those 13 seconds, and everything he worked for before them.